Apple doesn't delay products by accident. When Apple pauses, when it holds back, resists the urge to ship, and quietly disappears into development, there's a strategy behind the silence. Sometimes the delay is manufacturing. Sometimes it's software. And sometimes the truth is more ambitious. The original idea wasn't big enough. That's exactly what happened with Apple TV 2026. Inside Apple, the early plan for this device was routine. A faster processor, a few internal refinements. Maybe a minor feature or two. Safe, predictable, forgettable. Then Apple changed course. And when Apple pivots, it doesn't do it halfway. The living room started to matter again. For years, Apple TV lived in a strange space. It was polished, smooth, reliable, occasionally great, but never essential. The market shifted around it. Amazon Fire TV sticks became cheap and disposable. Google TV embedded itself directly into panels. Roku took over by being simple and affordable. Apple TV remained premium in a world that didn't think it needed premium. That was the problem. People stopped asking for better streaming. They started wanting more. More intelligence. More speed. More power. More flexibility. More reasons to keep a device under the television. Streaming alone became a commodity. Press play, wait, buffer, repeat. Apple saw the shift and, instead of reacting fast, did something more dangerous for competitors. It stopped. It delayed. It reimagined the product from the ground up. That's why Apple TV 2026 matters. This is not a routine refresh, not an incremental upgrade. This is a full reset of what Apple TV represents. Apple is no longer treating it as a passive streaming box. It's transforming it into a platform for premium entertainment, a platform for console-level gaming, a platform for on-device AI, a platform for the smart home. The delay wasn't hesitation. It was intention. And every sign points to one conclusion. Apple TV 2026 will be the most powerful device Apple has ever placed beneath a TV. At the center of this shift is the processor, the brain that defines what the device can do. According to multiple reports and industry leaks, Apple is preparing to bring the A17 Pro chip to Apple TV. That's not a normal move. The A17 Pro is not designed for simple media playback. It's not overkill by accident. It's a console-class processor engineered for sustained performance, advanced graphics, and on-device AI workloads. Putting the A17 Pro inside Apple TV is Apple sending a message. This box is no longer passive. It is no longer limited. It is no longer just for watching. Streaming apps don't need this kind of power. Netflix doesn't demand it. YouTube doesn't require it. But Apple isn't building for today's apps. Apple is building for tomorrow's experiences. With the A17 Pro, Apple TV breaks free from performance ceilings. Menus feel instant. Apps launch with zero delay. Animations stay fluid regardless of background tasks. Multitasking becomes seamless. But raw speed is just the surface. The real transformation is what this power unlocks. Gaming becomes real. Not mobile distractions. Not watered-down ports. Real games, console-level experiences, suddenly playable in the living room through a small, silent box. Apple has been laying the groundwork for years. Resident Evil running on Apple Silicon wasn't a novelty. It was a proof of concept. Death Stranding wasn't a flex, it was a signal. Assassin's Creed arriving on Apple platforms wasn't an experiment, it was preparation. Apple TV 2026 completes the picture. With a 17 Pro inside, Apple TV delivers stable frame rates, high-quality textures, and sustained performance without thermal throttling. This isn't about going head-to-head with PlayStation or Xbox for hardcore gamers. That's never been Apple's play. This is about eliminating the need for a second device. One box, one controller, one ecosystem. Apple Arcade evolves from a casual subscription into a serious platform. Developers stop ignoring Apple TV. Studios start paying attention because the hardware is no longer the limit. For millions of families, students, and everyday users, Apple TV becomes their console without them ever planning to buy one. But gaming is only half the story. The other half is intelligence. Apple Intelligence is coming to the living room, and when it lands, it changes how we watch TV. Today's smart TVs aren't smart. They're cluttered. They're noisy. They prioritize ads over experience. They push content instead of understanding people. Apple is going the other way. With the neural engine inside a 17 Pro, Apple TV becomes context-aware. It doesn't just recommend shows. It understands viewing behavior, what you finish, what you abandon, what you return to weeks later. Over time, Apple TV becomes personal without being invasive, accurate without being creepy, helpful without being manipulative. You ask, what should I watch? And instead of endless scrolling, you get a real answer, one option, one decision, one experience. Because so much of this runs on device, privacy stays intact. Your habits remain inside your home. Your data doesn't become a product. That difference matters more than people realize. While other platforms are built around extraction, Apple is building around experience, and nowhere is that contrast clearer than in the living room. Siri evolves too. Voice control stops feeling mechanical. Commands stop feeling scripted. You no longer need robotic phrasing. You speak naturally, and Apple TV understands. This is the Siri Apple has been waiting to release. Not half ready, not embarrassing, not limited. That's another reason for the delay. Apple didn't want to ship a half-smart Apple TV. It wanted AI to feel mature. It wanted voice to feel human. That takes time. Connectivity is the other pillar of the redesign. Apple is reportedly replacing third-party Wi-Fi and Bluetooth components with a custom Apple wireless chip. Apple only does this when control matters: control over latency, power efficiency, and long-term performance. Streaming quality depends on stability. Gaming depends on latency. Smart home control depends on reliability. A custom wireless stack improves all of it. Buffering fades. Dropouts disappear. Controllers feel instant. AirPods connect flawlessly. AirPlay becomes frictionless. These details might seem small, but they define daily experience. Apple understands that, which is why it waited. Launching Apple TV 2026 without this connectivity foundation would have limited its future. This device is being built for years of updates, features, and growth, not a short refresh cycle. And then there's the surprise: price. For years, Apple TV was criticized for being too expensive for what people thought it was: a streaming box. That perception hurt adoption. Apple knows this. This time, strategy changes. Multiple reports suggest a lower entry price for Apple TV 2026. That's not generosity, it's expansion. Apple wants scale. More homes. More regions. More living rooms. Because once Apple TV enters the home, everything else follows. Apple TV becomes the gateway device. The value equation is rewritten. More power, deeper intelligence, better connectivity, lower barrier to entry. That combination is dangerous for competitors. Fire TV can't match the experience. Google TV can't match the integration. Roku can't match the innovation. Apple isn't trying to win their game. Apple is changing the rules. By 2026, Apple TV stops being a box you tolerate. It becomes the center of home entertainment. The default way you watch TV, play games, control your smart home, share photos, stream music, and bring Apple services together on the biggest screen in your house. Every screen, every service, every experience unified. That's the real reason behind the delay. Not caution, not uncertainty, purpose. Apple didn't wait because it was late. Apple waited because it was redefining a category.